audio to work on another device that I have. So we're going to do it on this one. Let me make sure you guys have the audio now, and we'll go from there. Doesn't seem like it's wanting to acknowledge that I'm even online. Here we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Let me just make sure you can hear me. Testing. Okay, there we go. All right, we're back in business. And again, it's not personal. It's just business. That's a famous line from the movie The Godfather, spoken by Michael Corleone to his brother Sonny. And one of the words, well, two of the words that came up were reverie and savant. Reverie means a state of dreamy, pleasant, or fanciful meditation or daydreaming, often involving a departure from reality. Okay. Savant. The word savant is a very learned or talented person, especially one distinguished in a particular field or science or the arts. So it's someone who has an exceptional aptitude in one particular field. And that's probably what most people's issue with you is. But again, it's their issue, right? It's not yours. Now, my understanding is that they tried to corrupt you, but they couldn't even stain your image because you understood the assignment. Your purity was weaponized. They figured that since you were an earth angel, you'd be soft, prayerful, and patient, blessing their broke asses with healing, spreading your love out like confetti. But you discovered what they never wanted you to learn, that your light doesn't only illuminate, it incinerates. All right? Let's see, I've got a few decks out here. They're all mixed up. Kind of like people out there. So your light doesn't only illuminate, it incinerates. That's a part of the problem that they have. And again, it's their problem, not yours. So what do you care? Ooh. The first card out is kissing ass. So a lot of people expected that you would be like that because you're so loving, that you would just throw it out like confetti. But now that's the energy that they're in. Your light is incinerating them because you didn't fall from grace. You ascended by choice, right? The pain that they inflicted upon you cracked you open and liquid prophecy came spilling out. You're not saving them anymore. That's another reason why they're kissing ass is you're not saving them anymore because you tried that already. What's the point of trying to save someone who's already shown you, right? Yeah, an offer came out. Yeah. So you're not saving anyone anymore. You let yourself be poisoned by absorbing everyone else's darkness for too long, right? So any offers that they bring, they know that they won't be fulfilled. You won't accept them. You're not a filter for their toxicity anymore. And they felt and sensed this shift when you stopped being patient. When you stopped being a patient angel that they manipulated. Instead of being patient, you started assessing the situation before deciding to take action. Let's see, what's this to come out? Yep, acceleration, strive, catch up, approach. A lot of the reason why people are doing this is because they want to catch up. They want to approach you so that they can put this offer in front of you and catch up to where you are. But you're assessing the situation before you decide to take any action. And you don't fight evil, you dissolve it. And you're not even at full caliber yet. So imagine once you reach your full potential, where you're exactly where you want to be, which I'm understanding is not taking too long to take place. That acceleration also speaks of your just general motivation, how you strive to catch up. You approach things, okay? They didn't expect that the most dangerous person that they would encounter would be wrapped in innocence, speaking softly instead of being loud, right? Ooh, Bees card came out. You're a hardworking person, okay? You fertilized all this life-sustaining sting energy. And that's what I mean by, You're stinging them at this point. There's a sweet sensation that you have, this growth, this providing energy, this fearless energy, this always seeking. If you're like me, you love learning. It's something that you enjoy doing all the time, and you're very well respected, in your own right. Now, let's see. You destroy the truth. You destroy their truth instead of being violent with them. Their entire reality is crumbling because you're not playing the game anymore. Let's see. All right, 2 cards came out, both in the reverse. Let's see. Ooh, High Horse and Itchy card in reverse. So, with their entire reality crumbling because you're not playing their game, right? Let's see. This High Horse. Yeah. They're realizing too that they're not a dependable option for you. They're on this faulty foundation in need of work. They didn't want you to realize that you were the exact opposite either, because demons corrupt and destroy in ways that have become so obvious to you. It's so obvious to you how demons interact, how demons work. You know what I mean? And you activated your true frequency and are existing as your authentic self. Okay? Their lies can't exist in the same place as your truth does. They deemed you were weak because you forgave them, stupid when you were being kind, and that they could exploit you because you love them. Okay, so this Itchy card in reverse, meeting an old friend. I feel like you're realizing too, every single day you're realizing more and more like which potential or which old friend or ex-friend was actually an enemy. And it's now causing those individuals to no longer have an advance in position. Okay, that's this Itchy card. Yeah, they're now engaging that point of the better or worse. They're discovering that their legacies have been broken down. Wow. Yeah, they thought you were, they could exploit you because you love them. They didn't know that you were mapping their weakness every time you expressed your love. Every time you expressed your love, you were mapping out their weaknesses. Every act of kindness that you displayed, you were collecting data on them and anyone like them. Every time you forgave them, you were studying their patterns. Oh, how they're going to act, when this comes up again, or how are they going to, you were studying their patterns. You don't need to exploit them. Instead, you hold up a mirror to them, and they can't stand the sight of themselves at this point. They literally cannot stand the sight of themselves. All right, let's get a different set of this deck. They cannot stand the sight of themselves. And you are constantly here with the mirror in your hands. Their entire existence was built on false realities, and you're an authentic being. So you force them to confront how complacent they've been. All right, let's see. Ooh, learner card came out. Yeah, that's what they're learning in this instance. They are learning that their entire existence was built on false realities, but they knew that, But you're forcing them to confront how complacent they've been in their own life. Every trap that they set taught you their methods. So you can't be trapped again. Every time you were tested, you became more luminous. You displayed more light. And they put you on display. Now everybody can see your light. That's what happens when you put something in a display case. People, they wanted all the attention to be on you. They wanted all the attention to be on you so everybody could see how you responded to what they would do. The light that they thought they put out with their betrayals. You're the light that they thought they put out with their betrayals. And you're just out here shining. Every betrayal confirmed that they were never a match for your vibration. Ooh, wow. They're learning too. They're learning about your nurturing energy, how wise you are on how you give back, when you give back, who you mentor, who you help. They're seeing that about you. See, demons are those who have fallen, and angels are those who continue to rise. Demons descend into a place of pride, and angels ascend from a place of pain. Okay? Demons lost their light a long time ago, and they continue to try to diminish any resemblance of that light. The more they embrace their dark ways, And so you transformed into something that heals and harms in the same vibration. Your vibration heals and harms. You don't feel any need to intervene while they destroy themselves with their own lies. That's what they feel is harming them. The fact that you didn't want to save them and say, "Oh no, that's not the truth." You're not focused on trying to correct anybody. Only person you wish to correct is yourself, and that's why they end up faced with this mirror. They have a limited understanding of what real power looks like. Very limited. All right, let's see. Yeah, wasting time. They're completely wasting their time at this point. That's what they are coming to realize as well. They're stuck. They've had no changes. Limited. Like I said, they have a limited understanding of what power looks like. They only know what someone else told them or taught them. They didn't realize that reality itself would bend to accommodate your frequency. They thought you were predictable, but you turned out to be a disruption disguised as peace. You looked like peace to them, like you were just going to remain peaceful, but you became this disruption when you didn't fall on board. Yeah. The stranger card came out. Yeah. Now they're realizing that, this encounter with them was by chance and that you could have provided some mutual aid if only they'd been a friend. That's what the card says. They feel like they wasted that time that they had in your presence when you two were strangers. Even if this is a family member, doesn't matter. They thought you were predictable, and it turned out you were a disruption disguised as peace. When you speak about them, it bypasses their conscious minds and pierces their souls as well. So that's a huge part of it too. Alligator, yeah. The alligator card came out. It's because you're stealth, you're swift, you're taking a big bite out of life. You have this good fortune coming in. This dynamic. You have these primal instincts, ancient wisdom, and you move quietly, but you strike with great force. That's that mirror. You don't even have to go after them. Think about it. Just the sight of an alligator is going to scare someone, right? Again, but they thought you were predictable, but you were just a disruption disguised as peace. When you speak about them, their conscious minds can't even understand it, but it pierces their souls. That's the hard part for them. Like, how is this person, making me feel this way? Because you don't come with barrels of tolerance and forgiveness for them anymore. You hold everyone accountable, and that terrifies them. Being held accountable for who they've become is terrifying to them. They're afraid of their own shadows now when that's what they wanted you to be. You feel everything, right? They call you an empath. You feel everything. You feel too much. They wanted to use that against you too. But your boundaries turns your empathy into a weapon, okay? You've mastered that ability, and that allowed you to feel their weakness, their desperation, and their neediness. See, that's what they forget. If you're an empath, you can also feel their weaknesses, their desperation, their neediness. All of their fears were and continue to be reflected back to them with full clarity. Yeah, that's some type of epiphany. That's what card came out. Yeah. They realize too that it's a self-reflection. You've answered a lot of questions and you've tapped into some of your talents, right? And it's made you a magician in their eyes, right? Because how could you? How dare you, reflect back to me with full clarity so that I can see what I've been hiding from, what I've been feeling, what I've been denying, what I've been running from. And that's because you don't coddle them. You don't coddle them and excuse how they behave. You simply challenge them to live up to their full potential, mostly by just living up to your own full potential. They can't get you to turn against yourself. You're a walking contradiction to them. They can't predict your responses anymore because you're no longer responding to them. You turn their darkness into your wisdom. They'd rather be completely destroyed at this point. That's why they have this energy of, I'm never going to stop. They'd rather be destroyed and have everything for them end rather than transform, because a transformation means that they'll have to change forever. Okay. Yep. Clout hungry. Yep. That's that never ending chase that they're in. That clout hungry. They wanted you to keep filling them up with your good energy, collective. They thought that you would never stop raining down your love on them, But instead, you built up a dam and you redirected your rain through a reservoir that allowed you to generate your own electromagnetic protection field. They can't access your energy in this dam anymore. You know, you operate where they can't access unless they become completely authentic, accountable, truthful, and can reciprocate what you graciously provided them with for free. They lost themselves behind all of these masks. They don't know who they are because they pretend to be somebody different with everyone they meet. That good old facade that they thought was protecting them from being seen or even possibly hurt caused mass confusion within their soul and their spirit. And they are living in a full identity crisis. Most people only have an identity crisis. These people are living in it. And it's because you embody the frequency of heaven on earth. And they're having to constantly recalibrate to try to override their system, their evil demonic ways, in an attempt to update their reality so that they can try to match your frequency, right? And that right there was never a part of their plan. Just know that, collective. It was never a part of their plan for them to have to learn how to heal, to try to match your frequency so that they can get close to you, right? You were supposed to stay on the frequency that everyone else had access to as well, where everyone knows your name, yada, yada, yada. That cheers energy. You're celebrating the fact that they're predictable. That's why you stay so far ahead of them. Again, they only know what they've been taught, what other people told them. You already broke your mask and experienced every destruction that they could imagine. And that initiated you so that you could become who you are right now. That pressure activated you like a pure diamond. You use your light like a weapon, not on purpose though, but being so luminous, you can't help but expose everything in the dark. Trying to get in your energy doesn't work anymore because your frequency breaks down everything false and corrupt. It has to. Think about this. You ever see a meteor traveling into the planet and these little flecks and pieces start to fly off into the atmosphere? They start to fragment when they even turn in your direction, collective. Okay? They think they're coming in like these meteors into your atmosphere, into your energy, astral projection, etc., etc. But they literally start to fragment when they even turn in your direction. Your energy is hot with two T's. That's what they mean when they say you're the pressure. Your authenticity and energy causes them to melt, to ablate, to break into smaller pieces. Your glow is molten hot and it starts to vaporize them and requires them to shed their false exterior. They feel like they're actually falling off, like a meteor, all those little particles. They literally feel like they're falling off because their fake persona is disintegrating when this happens. It's literally disintegrating when this happens. And it's because you spent so much time, it's because they spent so much time operating in the shadows and wearing these masks. You do what you do in the full light of day, authentically and unapologetically. Their only power comes from being cruel. They feel weak if they aren't acting hard. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, if you're not acting hard, you're weak, which isn't true. You aligned yourself with source and you don't need anybody's validation. They always have something to prove and you don't need to prove anything, right? You just exist in your authentic vibration. Everything they set up as the quote unquote standard was just a trap to keep people stuck trying to match up with their vibration. Every time they told somebody, oh yeah, all these copycats and things like that, they'll never be on your frequency without being authentic. And their authenticity is a mystery to them. They can't find who they are authentically because they've been so focused on you or doing things that other people told them to do. Other people told them to get on board with. Finding their way back to themselves, it's going to be a long road. You embody the shadow and light because your purpose was for you to face your shadow without shame. You won't apologize for your power because your power is generated by you and untouched by anyone. You have the authority because you claimed your sovereignty just by being yourself. They can't outlaw your presence. You're here. You still exist. You've mastered authenticity and you won't allow yourself to serve anybody but you. Your possibilities keep expanding. You withdrew your consent to everything that you endured previously. You let chaos swirl around and let things fall apart because you knew that sometimes things need to fall apart for the truth to be revealed. And you're not doing any of this within the intention of directly trying to target anyone. It's beneath you to attack someone. You're just being yourself, and that's what incapacitates them. Anything inauthentic fake, false, etc., will erupt in your presence. You stored up all the emotions and all the feelings so that you could create a radar to identify theirs, right? If you know all the feelings, if you feel all the feelings and you can identify them, you can identify what they're feeling. You're an empath, remember? The thing that was supposed to make you weak actually made you stronger than they'll ever be. They don't have any feelings, remember? That's how they operate. None of this is going the way that they expected because their idea of what it's supposed to be isn't a true depiction of real power. You are the depiction of real power, how you live your life. Okay, collective. I'll pull one more card and we'll close it out. Ooh, got two. Yeah. Wow. There's a community too out here that's got proof. There's communities that have this evidence. Community and photo proof came out. Everybody can see that. Everybody can see who's really in power, who's really in control. Again, none of this is going the way they expected. You were supposed to be predictable and fall into every trap. But again, all those traps that they set, too funny. All of those traps they set. It taught you everything about their methods. Every time you were tested, you became more luminous. They put you on display. Look, we've got them in the case. We've got them, stuck here. And then that caused everybody to see your light. Now everybody in these communities knows who holds the real power. And there's nothing they can do about it. They think that they're going to come in with this offer of kissing ass and move towards you and pretend like, oh, I like what you're doing. Oh, we're both spiritual. Oh, this, that. Oh, this, that. Yeah, sure. But that was never a part of their agenda in the first place. So that's why they can't come forward with this offer. Again, you've got this magnetic force field around you that won't allow that BS. And that's why they get stopped every time. That's why they haven't called you. That's why they haven't reached out. Because they know you wouldn't go for it. You're too far above that. Like I said, it's beneath you, okay, to act in anything except for your full power. I hope that this has been helpful and insightful in some way, shape, or form, collective. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.